A boy and his numbers. If you close your eyes and picture a Wall Street tycoon, you probably imagine pinstripe suits, private jets, and frantic traders shouting across a floor in Manhattan. But our story doesn't start there. It starts in a quiet, unassuming house in Omaha, Nebraska in the 1930s. Our hero isn't a titan of industry yet. He's just a strange little boy who loves numbers more than people. While other kids were outside playing catch or trading baseball cards, young Warren Buffett was hunched over books filled with nothing but digits. He would memorize population statistics for cities. He'd count the frequency of words in the newspaper. One time, and this is absolutely true, he sat in church calculating the lifespans of hymn composers, trying to figure out if piety had any statistical correlation with longevity. For Warren, money wasn't about greed. It was about freedom. He once told a friend, "Money makes me independent. Then I can do what I want with my life." This is not a story about magic. This is the story of how that odd little boy, armed with nothing but an obsession with value and an inhuman level of patience, became the greatest investor the world has ever seen. Welcome to the story of the Oracle of Omaha. Chapter 1, The First Lesson, a $5 profit and a $492 regret. Warren Edward Buffett was born on August 30th, 1930. His father, Howard, was a stockbroker who later became a congressman. By the age of 6, Warren was already running his first business venture. He took 25 cents, bought a 6-pack of Coca-Cola from his grandfather's grocery store, and sold each bottle for a nickel. Net profit, 5 cents. For most kids, that's pocket change. For Warren, it was a perfect arbitrage model. Find the wholesale to retail spread and exploit it. As a teenager, he delivered the Washington Post, but he wasn't just a paper boy. He was a logistics manager. He optimized his route to save seconds, sold magazine subscriptions on the side, and even collected old, unsold magazines from barber shops to resell at train stations. He and a friend bought a used pinball machine for $25, installed it in a barber shop, and split the profits with the owner. Soon, Wilson's coin-operated machine co., though everyone knew it was Buffett's, had machines in 7 different locations. But his real entry into the world of capital markets came in the spring of 1942. At age 11, Warren pooled $140.75 with his sister Doris and bought 3 shares of Citi Service preferred stock at $38 per share. The moment he bought it, the stock tanked. It fell to $27. Doris nagged him every day about the loss. The pressure was unbearable for an 11-year-old. When the stock finally clawed its way back to $40, Warren sold it immediately, locking in a $5 profit. And then, like a cruel joke, the stock skyrocketed to $200. Warren didn't celebrate. He felt sick. He did the math. By selling early, he had missed out on a potential gain of $492, a fortune for a child in the 1940s. That was the first and perhaps most important lesson of his career. Profit in the market doesn't come from buying smart. It comes from holding. He lost $492 in potential gains, but he gained an iron understanding of the word patient. Chapter 2, The Disciple, Meeting the Master. After high school, Buffett attended the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. He hated it. He thought the professors were just talking theory without any practical knowledge of making money. So he transferred to the University of Nebraska and finished his degree in under 3 years. By then, he was managing tens of thousands of dollars, but he knew he was still a hack. He needed a system. He needed a teacher. In 1949, he stumbled upon a book in the library, The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. When he read Graham's parable of Mr. Market, it was like a lightning bolt. Graham proposed that you should imagine yourself as a partner in a business with a manic depressive man named Mr. Market. Every day, Mr. Market shows up at your door and offers to buy your share or sell you his at a certain price. Some days he is euphoric and quotes ridiculously high prices. Other days he is depressed and quotes fire sale lows. Your job, Graham said, is not to be swayed by his emotions, but to use them. Buy when he is miserable, sell when he is euphoric. Buffett was hooked. He applied to Columbia Business School solely to study under Graham. In class, he was the star. He could answer any obscure question Graham threw at him. He graduated with the only A+ in Graham's security analysis course. Desperate to work for his idol, Buffett offered to work for Graham's firm, Graham Newman, for free. Graham refused. The reason was surprisingly simple. Wall Street was still subtly anti-Semitic. Graham was Jewish. and he wanted to give opportunities to Jewish graduates. Dejected, Buffett returned to Omaha, but he didn't give up. He ran his own small partnerships and constantly wrote letters to Graham, pitching him cheap stock. His persistence paid off. In 1954, a telegram arrived. Start work in August. For 2 intense years in New York, Buffett worked alongside Graham. They sifted through thousands of stocks looking for cigarette butts, companies trading for less than their net working capital. They bought stakes in a failing windmill company, a coal mine, and defunct railroads. Every day, Buffett drilled one principle into his soul. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. Then in 1956, the hammer fell. At 62, Benjamin Graham decided to retire. He dissolved the firm and returned the capital to his partners. He did not hand the empire to his brightest protege. It was a devastating blow, but also a liberation. At the age of 26, Warren Buffett went back to Omaha. This time, he wasn't looking for a boss. Chapter 3, The Revenge Buy, the $200 million mistake. Back in Omaha, Buffett rented a small office without even a window and hung a shingle. Buffett associates lit it. Friends, family, doctors, lawyers gave him their money. His strategy was pure Graham. Find the cigar butts. Buy companies so cheap that even if they died, you'd make money liquidating them. From 1956 to 1969, while the Dow averaged 9.1% a year, Buffett's partnership averaged a staggering 31.6%. Even when the market went down, he made money. But a storm was brewing. In 1962, Buffett noticed a textile company called Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire was a relic. Based in New England, it was getting crushed by cheaper Japanese imports. Its stock was trading below its net asset value, even below its working capital. According to Graham's rules, it was a classic cigarette butt. You could buy it, shut it down, sell the looms, and pocket the difference. Buffett started buying. By 1964, he decided to cash out. He had a verbal agreement with the CEO, Seabury Stanton. Buffett would tender his shares back to the company for $11.50 per share. A few days later, the formal offer letter arrived. Buffett opened it expecting to see $11.50. Instead, he saw $11,375, 12.5 cents less. To anyone else, it might have been a clerical error or a minor negotiating tactic. To Buffett, it was a breach of honor. Enraged, he didn't call to clarify. He didn't accept the slight. He sought revenge. He stormed into the market and furiously bought more shares. He wasn't arbitraging anymore. He was taking control. He amassed enough voting power, marched into the boardroom, and fired Stanton. He had won the battle, but he was about to lose the war. Buffett soon discovered the grim reality. The textile business was a capital-eating monster. It required constant investment in new machinery just to stay competitive, with razor-thin margins. He had spent a fortune to buy himself a terrible job. Most people would have sunk with the ship. Buffett did something brilliant. He refused to surrender to the mistake. He repurposed it. He made a pivotal decision. Stop investing in textiles, but keep the corporate shell of Berkshire Hathaway. He redirected the company's cash flow away from the looms and into other businesses, good businesses that didn't need much capital to thrive. By accident, a disastrous investment had become the mothership for his future empire. Berkshire Hathaway transformed from a failing textile mill into the greatest capital allocation machine in history. Chapter 4, The Evolution, Charlie Munger and the Moat. If Graham taught Buffett how to buy, another man taught him what to buy. That man was Charlie Munger. Before Munger, Buffett was a bargain bin shopper. Munger, a sharp-witted lawyer from California, changed the equation. He famously told Buffett, "Forget the cigar butts. It's far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price." This philosophy was put to the test in 1964 with the Salad Oil scandal. American Express was implicated in a massive fraud where a warehouse supposedly full of salad oil was found to contain mostly seawater. The stock collapsed from $65 to $35. Wall Street analysts were frantically recalculating liability. Buffett ignored the panic. He walked out of his office and onto the streets of Omaha. He conducted a field experiment. He stood behind the counter at Ross's Steakhouse and watched customers pay their bills. Were they still using the American Express card? Yes. He went to banks and travel agencies. Were they still accepting Amex travelers' checks? Yes. Buffett realized the scandal hadn't touched the heart of the business. American Express's moat, its brand trust and payment network, was intact. People trusted the green card, and that trust wouldn't vanish because of a warehouse scam. Against all conventional wisdom, he invested 40% of his partnership's assets into American Express. Within a few years, the stock had quadrupled. For the first time, he had looked beyond the balance sheet and seen the true source of value: intangible assets. Chapter 5: The Media Baron, Saving Katharine Graham. The American Express play showed his business acumen. The Washington Post showed his humanity. In 1973, Watergate was raging. The Post, which broke the story, was under immense pressure from the Nixon administration. Its stock plummeted. Buffett saw the numbers. Even if you valued only its TV stations, radio licenses, and printing presses, the sum of the parts was greater than the whole. Plus, it had a monopoly on news in the nation's capital, a deep moat. He quietly bought 10% of the company. Panic ensued. The publisher, Katharine Graham, was terrified. She assumed this unknown man from Omaha was a corporate raider. Instead of hiding, Buffett flew to Washington. He knocked on her door and said, "I'm a friend, not an enemy." To prove it, he did something radical. He joined the board, but voluntarily gave up his voting rights. He promised never to interfere with the newsroom. He even became Graham's personal finance tutor, patiently explaining balance sheets to her over weekly phone calls. His integrity turned fear into friendship. He supported Graham as she grew into a powerful media titan. That investment returned over 100x, but more importantly, it proved Buffett could enter a great company peacefully and earn the trust to share in its success. Chapter 6: The Big Bet, Seeing the Future in a Can of Coke. By the late 1980s, Buffett was wealthy, but he felt incomplete. He owned insurers and newspapers, but he hadn't captured the essence of global consumerism. Then he looked at Coca-Cola. Coke had just botched the launch of New Coke. The stock was stagnant. Value purists thought it was overpriced. But Buffett, now fully converted by Munger, saw something else. He saw a red can everywhere, from Chinese villages to Brazilian beaches. He saw a business with an unbeatable moat, low cost, secret formula, and a century-old distribution network. He realized globalization was inevitable. As the world got richer, they would drink Coke. It was a predetermined future. From 1988 onward, he secretly built a position. Using multiple brokers to hide his tracks, he poured $1.3 billion into Coca-Cola, eventually owning 7% of the company. It was a third of Berkshire's entire portfolio. It was a massive gamble. If he was wrong, it would be catastrophic. He wasn't wrong. As the Berlin Wall fell and global trade exploded, Coke sales soared. The stock increased tenfold over the next decade. With that single bet, Buffett transformed from a Wall Street wizard into America's folk capitalist, proving that if you are right about the long term, short-term pricing is irrelevant against the power of compound interest. Chapter 7: The Firefighter, Reputation Over Riches. We often picture Buffett as a jolly grandfather, but in 1991, the world saw his steel backbone. Salomon Brothers, a giant investment bank in which Buffett was the largest shareholder, was caught rigging U.S. Treasury bond auctions. The Treasury threatened to ban Salomon, a death sentence. Chaos erupted. Buffett stepped in as interim chairman. On his first day, he gathered the arrogant executives. He stared them down and declared, "Lose money for the firm, and I will be understanding. Lose a shred of reputation for the firm, and I will be ruthless." He personally called the Treasury Secretary, admitted fault, cleaned house, and saved the firm from collapse. He didn't do it for profit. He did it for duty. He demonstrated that in business, reputation is the ultimate currency. Chapter 8: The Final Vow, Giving It All Back Today. Buffett lives in the same modest house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He eats McDonald's for breakfast. In 2006, on the eve of his 76th birthday, he announced his final masterstroke, giving away 99% of his wealth, mostly to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Why? He calls it the ovarian lottery. "I won the lottery the day I was born," he wrote. If he had been born in ancient Sudan or Bangladesh, his talent for numbers would be useless. He just happened to be born in a time and place that rewarded his specific skill set. Since society gave him that winning ticket, he believes it is his duty to give it back. So what is the secret of the oracle? It isn't genius. It's simplicity. Stay within your circle of competence. Find a long, sloping hill with wet snow.